Welcome, guys. If you want to take a seat. Nikhil, you're going to sit next to me. And then we'll have Ben in the middle there. Wonderful. And I have to figure out how to use some technology. So it should be fun. Okay. Thanks, everyone, for coming. I'm excited for this panel. It's a sort of passion area of mine, the smart kitchen, understanding how using technology impacts our relationship with food and with how it impacts how we cook. And I've always sort of used a somewhat trite terminology thinking, well, the kitchen is already one of the most technologically advanced rooms in our house. There are already robots in our kitchen. Our dishwasher is a robot that washes our dishes. Our microwave is a robot that cooks our popcorn. I mean, not as advanced as some of the robots we're going to be seeing here, but it's a natural extension that the kitchen becomes more roboticized as it intersects with the smart kitchen, with being able to use software to power our cooking experiences and to help us get more benefit from how we cook food at home, and from nutrition to lifestyle, and caring for your family. The different ways you interact with your kitchen can really benefit and make your life a lot easier. So what we're going to talk about today is how robotics specifically can impact and help us with cooking or just eating, because one of our panelists will drop food in your lap. So I'm excited to introduce the panel. So on my far left here, we've got Assaf Pashut, and he is the founder and CEO of Chefee Robotics. And if you don't know what Chefee Robotics is, you are going to be quite blown away by what this can do. It's a home, I'm not going to give away too much because we're going to see a video, but a brief description. It's a home robotics chef that will basically cook your food, will store, prep, and cook your food from scratch. So you don't really have to do anything other than maybe press some buttons. And then Thein here, who is the COO of Flytrex. This is an on-demand drone delivery company. It's the largest home drone delivery service and it's North Carolina and Texas where they currently operate. And the sort of tagline is it's DoorDash, but only faster. And then here on my left here, I've got Nikhil, and he is the co-founder and CEO of Cloudchef. And that's sort of what you think. It's a way of cooking and reimagining cooking using software and AI. Again, CES, got to say AI, it's like contractually required. So, and it enables commercial kitchens to cook Michelin quality meals with untrained staff or robots, using software powered platforms as well as some hardware. So we're going to get into a more detailed look at what some of these products and services offer. If I can figure out how to use the clicker. So we're going to start with Assaf, and then what we're going to do is we're going to run the video, and then Assaf will give us a little brief explanation about what we've seen and fill us in a little bit more about his company. So let's see how that goes. All right, ready? We're going to watch.
Welcome to Self-Cooking Kitchens powered by Chefee, where preparing dinner for friends is as simple as a few clicks on your phone. Choose from thousands of recipes, filter them by dietary preferences or allergies, or even schedule dinner in advance. Chefee blends into your existing kitchen layout and magically appears to start cooking. It orders and stores ingredients, plans menus, and cooks up to 24 servings on command. While you go about your day, Chefee precisely dispenses, weighs, pours, combines, and stirs every ingredient to perfection. And when it's time to eat, simply lift the lids and dig in. So join the Jetsons and share more delicious moments with those you love.
Who didn't spot the robot? Pretty well hidden, huh?
All right, a round of applause for Chefee. So I guess I'll just add a quick word.
Yeah, tell us what happened there. It was like, whoa, hang on, what just came out of
So the vision is basically you walk into your home and there's a 3-course dinner, hot, steaming, ready to go. And it's not just a 3-course dinner that's cookie cutter, but it's actually specific to your diet, your allergies, your fitness goals, those of your children, etc. You're at the soccer game and you want food ready, just open your phone, even text Chefee, and food will be ready. So, and we're huge believers. If you've noticed, we don't use robotic arms. It's because we believe robotics and technology needs to be completely seamless and invisible as much as possible. So that's why we integrated it into your kitchen. So that's about it, I guess.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
We'll get into it more, don't worry. Okay, so now we're gonna have Ben tell us about Flytrex. So we're gonna do a short video here.
I'm addicted to ordering Flytrex. It's so stinking fun to watch the drone come in and drop me my food.
And there's my friend.
What is that, Kay?
Welcome to the future.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Oh, there it goes.
Oh my gosh, what a time to be alive.
There it is.
Here it comes. It delivered it. Now it's gonna take its cook back out. There it goes.
Thanks, Flytrex. We'll see you later.
All right,
Thank you.
What was going on? Tell us.
This is a collage of just organic videos that we've collected from Instagram or any other social media outlets out there, and we just put them together. So we're Flytrex. We're the biggest today in terms of home delivery with drones, of food deliveries with drones. We've completed. You know what, I'll take a step back. We started operating in North Carolina, and we were really happy when we were able to deliver once a week to 4 backyards that were adjacent to the Walmart that we were working with. And if we had 1 delivery per week, we were thrilled. And none of them really needed the delivery, but they wanted to try it out. So that was a little bit over 4 years ago. By now, we've completed over 140,000 deliveries in the United States. We operate in DFW, in the DFW area in Texas, and in North Carolina. It's just faster and more affordable than any other solution. So think about ordering your food either from Flytrex, from the Flytrex app, or from the restaurant directly. And the food will be delivered with a drone. Depends on the time it flies, but I would say about 4 minutes after the food leaves the restaurant, it will get to your home with a drone. There's just no other better, faster way to get your food delivered. So that's what we do.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, and now we're going to find out about Cloudchef, and then Nikhil will give us a little bit of an introduction after the video. Oh, is there no sound? You can talk over it if you like.
Yeah, totally. So we are Cloudchef, and we enable unskilled labor or robots to cook Michelin quality food. And the way we do it is by, just like how you would record or playback music, a musician comes to a studio, records their music. Like that, a chef comes into our kitchen, cooks their recipe once, and using a variety of sensors, we are able to codify this recipe to a point that anybody anywhere else in the world can cook this recipe without having the know-how of the chef, to a point that is more accurate than the chef can cook a second time. So as of now, we power commercial kitchens. They have the biggest labor problem, and we enable them, like I said, with either unskilled labor to cook their existing food much better, or general purpose robots like these to actually do the entire work inside a kitchen. So one thing that most people don't understand is that food service is actually the most labor-intensive industry out of all like commercial industries out there. And it is really hard to automate cooking. So we basically have made a software platform that allows any producer of food to cook food by leveraging both humans and robots in a way that's both best for the humans and the robots. So the robots do the things that the robots are best at, and the humans do the things that humans are best at. Oops. Yeah, and quick context, we've done like more than 500,000 meals or so on our platform so far, and yeah, that's more about Cloudchef. I'm sure we'll be able to talk more once the session progresses.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, so I would love to get into specifics about each of your companies, but just to start, to sort of set the stage and kind of understand your philosophies here, I kind of wanted to pose a question around around how robotics and cooking, what they mean to you and how they interact. And one of the things that when I first sort of looked into what you guys do and have been exploring robotics and smart home kitchen, and a feedback I get a lot from people is, I don't want to take myself out of the cooking process. Like a robot cooking for me maybe doesn't feel authentic, right? This maybe doesn't quite apply to the drone because yes, I want my pizza in 2 minutes. But you're in this space, so I'd be interested to understand what your approach is to putting the robotic element into such a human process of cooking, which is something that many of us enjoy and want to do and have emotional attachment to, but also we always are busy, and having the efficiency is obviously a selling point. So if you could answer that from your perspective of your business, like what is it what problem are you solving, and is it actually, taking anything away from the cooking process and at the emotional level?
Yeah. So I actually love cooking myself. Okay, but the reality is, even the people that really love cooking, they cook rarely because they're so busy. And so what they end up doing, 99.9% of food consumed is full of processed, and ingredients you don't even know of, whether you're ordering for restaurants or at the supermarket. And so most people, even though they love cooking, they end up resorting to crap. Okay, and so, pardon my French, she's nodding over there. Yeah, it's the truth. So what we see is a huge trend towards, I want to know what's in my food. I want to be able to control my nutrients. I want to know that it doesn't have MSG, and I want to know that it was made specifically for my body and my fitness goals, for example.
Ben?
So we don't interfere with the
cooking process.
with the cooking, but since we deliver the food with no human interaction, then people tend to obviously like it when people who are not supposed to touch the food do not touch the food. So that makes it much more desirable as far as we're concerned. And I'll give you another example. Something that we found out as we started to operate is that parents use our service to deliver food when they're not home to their kids, because that way the kids don't have to interact with a stranger knocking on their door. So they get the food delivered to their backyard or front lawn without anybody messing around, talking to them, or no interaction whatsoever. So that's our...
Yeah, so taking the human element out is
Right.
an actual bonus in your business model, right? Nikhil?
Yeah. So unlike Assaf, I did not know how to cook when I started the company, and surprisingly, to me, the AI was able to add the human element much faster than I was able to develop a skill and judgment myself. And I mean, if you take a step back from, what does it mean for the robot to take the soul out of cooking? It basically just means that typically, until recently, anything that has been robotic has been nothing but a glorified timer and a set of motions. Whereas anybody who's cooked food knows that there are so many variables in cooking. And I think a lot of what we tend to ascribe as the human instinct and intuition feel, that is actually now in codifiable territory with all the new AI advancements, and which is why, 5 years ago, you couldn't have AI systems figure out whether onions are brown. Today, it's a trivial task for most vision models. And increasingly, we are seeing more and more of these tasks being done by machine learning models. And in my mind, it is not taking the human out of it, it's scaling the best human touch and judgment to everybody who's eating food. So the analog I would draw here is like, go back 50 years and all the music that you would be able to listen to were people playing down the street from you. I mean, you couldn't listen to, today you can sit in like Africa and listen to Pink Floyd. That was just not possible without technology. And that's where food and cooking is headed as well, in my opinion. So long story short, I don't think it's going to take it's not taking the human skill and judgment away. It's basically scaling it out to a point that we haven't ever seen before.
Making it more accessible to more people. I think Spotify for food was one analogy that had been used. So that is helping you be able to access any food anywhere through AI, or the power of AI and robotics. So you're really augmenting the experience rather than restricting it.
Exactly. Do you know how to cook the food that you ate at your most favorite restaurant in Paris? I'm probably sure you don't. And there is a lot of human touch and feel and instinct and intuition there. So
yeah.
The idea is to be able to codify that with AI and make it accessible to everybody.
So how do the Michelin chefs feel about you saying that you can cook food better than them?
They're happy because they can scale up and make more money.
Ah, I see. So there's a real benefit. So is that the sort of market here? You're selling to the restaurants?
For now, we aren't focusing that much on restaurants, but that's more like a tactical thing.
Yeah.
Our product is still very valuable to restaurants. We actually have a bunch of Michelin star chefs actually using us in their kitchens because they are able to cook better with lesser quality labor, and like I said, it's the most labor-intensive industry. So everyone's looking to get rid of labor as much as possible. So
can you explain a little bit more on that? You mentioned it when you were showing the video, but so the AI is trained on how the chef cooks and is able to do it more consistently than them. Is that what you were saying? That's why it would be better in theory?
Yeah, exactly. So the way we test this out is we get Michelin star chefs into our kitchen, have them cook their meals once, and our sensors look at all of what's happening during this cooking process. And at the end of it, we are able to cook this recipe more accurately than the chef is able to a second time. And that's because as humans, we aren't incentivized to cook the exact same thing every single time, because that's not part of the creative process. But once the creative process is done, it's much better for robots or AI to take over from there on execution than the chefs to actually train massive swarms of hundreds of thousands of people to cook this. That isn't scalable, and that's why the highest quality food that you've eaten in your life probably has come from a restaurant that has less than 2 or 3 outlets.
Right, interesting. Well, and on that, the next question is about the infrastructure, because obviously robotics in the home and robotics flying in the air require infrastructure. I think we'll start with Nikhil, as we were just talking about, you were talking about sensors. So how are you enabling this experience in a kitchen? I understand it's software and hardware based. And is that a barrier to sort of entry for bringing robotics into the kitchen? Because there is a significant amount of infrastructure, whether it be software or hardware. Can you talk through what is needed to implement your solution and what the challenges are there?
So the way to think about it is our solution has 2 ends. Either it is helping unskilled labor to cook Michelin quality food, or doing it almost purely robotically. And for getting unskilled labor to cook food, the beauty of AI is that now you need very little amount of hardware to actually codify all of what's happening. So to give you an example, if you have a restaurant that's doing $3 million of revenue a year, putting Cloudchef tech into there costs less than the oven inside your kitchen. So,
but putting it in what? What are you putting it in?
So the way this works is we install a bunch of sensors across the kitchen, and we control every single appliance inside a kitchen, because every single appliance inside a kitchen is controlled using a knob, especially in commercial kitchens. So we put our knob that turns itself by talking to our software. We have cameras that are monitoring everything that's happening inside a kitchen, and that actually costs only like less than $10,000 for any kitchen.
So you have a smart knob.
Yeah, we have a
Smart knob.
Yeah,
That's burying the lead. I mean, a smart knob. A smart knob.
yeah, I mean, like, we basically use all this intelligence so that our hardware can be as dumb as a smart knob. Like, that's basically our design philosophy here. Like, we want as little hardware as possible because the more the heavy lifting the software can do, the lesser hardware you need, and the lesser hardware you need, the more scalable
Yeah.
it is.
Interesting.
And then for robots, especially in the food industry, it's hard because nobody has the money for capex, and robots.
For what, sorry?
For capital expenditure to buy
right.
these robots.
Yeah. No one is going to have robots roaming around their kitchen.
Correct. So that's hard. So we are solving that by, instead of offering robots on a capex basis, we're just offering our customers robotic labor on an hourly basis that they can hire. I mean, like, when you hire a human being, you don't pay for their school, and then you don't pay for their growing up and everything. So you just pay them an hourly wage. They do the job and they go out. So that's how we envision. Yeah. So to your point, upfront costs and capex in food is hard.
Yeah.
And the only solution is to make it as cheap as possible on an upfront basis and charge on like the value that you create.
Right. Okay. That's an excellent segue to Assaf. So how much does the system, well, we would love to know how much the system costs, but can you talk through the infrastructure of your system? Because it's more, you've got a lot more equipment and hardware in your system, correct? So tell us a little bit about how the Chefee works in a residential kitchen.
Yeah, so we designed it so that it can be installed almost universally into any home kitchen, or even some hotel suites, and which are some of our clients. You can even put it in a van if you wanted to and roam the country. It needs three things. Okay, it needs electricity, water, and Wi-Fi. Who doesn't have those three things
That's what
in their house?
we live on.
Exactly. So it doesn't require major renovation of your kitchen. I installed, that video was in my house. Yeah, you are jealous, I know. But yeah, it can be installed, and I rent, so we install that in my house.
And so how is it actually operating?
Now, hey, you're looking for secret?
But I mean, there's robotics involved, but you said you specifically don't use arms. So what, and can you talk a little bit to the storage too, because obviously you're talking about fresh foods and dry foods, and we saw in the video there were little containers for everything. Is there, like, am I going to spend like my entire Sunday chopping stuff up and putting them in my Chefee?
No. So in terms of the hardware, you guys ever seen Wallace and Gromit? It's cool.
I love that show.
Yeah, so it has all so it's really cool conveyors and like things transferring this. So we did that basically.
Like a Rube Goldberg machine?
What?
Like a Rube Goldberg.
Exactly. Yeah. So we did all of that, but in a much more elegant and kind of hidden way. So you're not meeting all this machinery. But on top of what you guys saw, we have modules. So Chefee 1.0 basically can make you hundreds of dishes from scratch. But we have add-on modules like Chefee Air Fryer that you just plug and play. Now your Chefee can make you hundreds of dishes that are air fried. Chefee Baker, now you can make fresh baked bread every morning, right? So we avoided robotic arms because that was our first iteration, and I almost got slapped in the face by it. And so we thought, this is probably not the best way to get into people's homes. So something a lot more integrated makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. And what about the software side? In the video, we saw the app. Was that a challenge to bring to your market? I mean, and how does it work with?
Oh, the software is the easiest part.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, once you solve actually the mechanical, software is so much easier. We can integrate with fitness plans. And speaking of your ingredients, right, we integrate with Amazon Fresh. So you can actually get pre-chopped vegetables, pre-chopped ingredients if you wanted to once a week. That, by the way, Chefee can even plan your menu and order all the ingredients to your door. Earlier you were talking about, the fun of cooking. Well, cooking isn't just the cooking. It's the, what am I going to make today?
The meal
my son doesn't like spicy, and I got to go shop, and all of that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and then on the infrastructure point, Ben, obviously drones have been in the news a lot recently for flying around the skies with no apparent reason.
Not us.
For those who haven't been in the US recently, New Jersey was... Did anyone ever figure out what was going on? There were drones every night.
Every other person was asking me if I
Yeah,
have
is it you, Ben?
something to do with that.
Are you delivering a lot of pizza?
Yeah.
But infrastructure-wise, you're in the 2 states. I understand that there's recently been some changes around the FAA regulations on drones. Is the infrastructure there for you to be able to use? And obviously, I don't mean there aren't roads in the sky, but like being allowed to use the airspace to deliver. What's the sort of challenge for you, and how are you going to expand that?
Yeah, I mean, I won't bore everybody with FAA stuff, but I have to say that the FAA has been an amazing partner to the drone delivery industry, and regulation is no longer an issue. We can deliver, on a federal level. I mean, we can deliver basically wherever we want, with the exception of actually where I live, Washington, D.C. But that's because it's Washington, D.C. So the infrastructure, as far as the regulation is concerned, is there. And interestingly enough, the place where we operate, the DFW area, has become some kind of a hub for other drone delivery companies as well. I'd like to say that we were there the first, but then some others came as well. And the biggest one that is also operating there is Wing by Google, and then there's a couple of others. And we're all working together as an industry with the FAA on a system called, it's a UTM, which is Unmanned Traffic Management. So think about Waze for the skies, Google Maps for the skies. This is coming now.
So we are getting roads in the sky.
In order, yes, yeah, to make sure that in an area where you do have a few drones from different companies flying around, then they can interact with one another and they know to fly, different altitudes, etc. So this is something that is being worked on, and we're actually deploying it very, very soon, like in the next couple of weeks, months. Just to say, just in terms of infrastructure, obviously at people's homes, customers don't need to do anything. They just need to download the app or order the food, and they get it. They don't need anything to change the way they operate. I mean, we just deliver it to their backyard or front lawn. Sometimes they will ask us to adjust. Let's say that they're planning on building a swimming pool in their backyard. so we will do that, of course. But there's no infrastructure on the customer side.
And what about the drones themselves? So from the video, they don't touch down, so you don't have to worry too much about someone grabbing your drone.
Right.
And they can carry, is it 5.5 pounds?
6.6 pounds. And then the new
up.
drone that we're bringing in right now is going to carry up to 9 pounds. We'll start with 8 and with 9, which is enough for a family dinner, more than enough. It covers basically all you need to eat in one meal, etc. So we have that in place, and then was there anything else?
Well, I was wondering about with the drones. So you're picking up from the actual restaurant or store.
We don't land in customer's house.
Right, but what happens at the other end?
So we pick up the food and we fly to the customer's house, and we lower the food, as you could see it in the video, on a tether.
Yeah.
And the food will be, you're not supposed to touch it, and the food will touch the ground, and then the hook on the tether will release itself, and the drone will fly back to the station.
But how's the food getting on the drone?
So the new drone that we're now deploying in Granbury, Texas, has the capability of picking up the food directly from the restaurant. So until now, we have been using runners.
Right, so there was a human element.
Yes, but it's being eliminated just to make it more efficient. So instead of picking up from the restaurant and loading into the drone by a person, there will be a tether that is outside the restaurant. Think about the curbside pickup.
Right.
So a curbside hook up, I guess. So it will lower the tether, and then there will be either a person from the restaurant or both going outside and placing the food on a hook, and then the drone will fly to the customer's house. There will also be something that we call autoloaders, so kind of like a structure outside where the restaurant will place it over there, and the drone will just pick it up with no human interaction, will pick it up from there, and then will fly to the customer's house.
And now, when I first heard about this, I just assumed it was going to cost me an arm and a leg because it sounds so futuristic. No. But you say it's more affordable than ordering DoorDash.
It's more affordable. We do not charge delivery fee. We do not charge marketing fee. We do not ask for a tip because you can throw money at the drone if you like.
He doesn't care. It doesn't care.
So, when I order today, any of the other of the traditional delivery mechanism, you order something for the cost of $14 and you end up paying about $30. Yeah. So that's not the case with us, because we technology basically allows us to deliver for much less.
Excellent, excellent. So robotics in food sounds futuristic. Obviously, it's coming, it's here. We have these experiences available. What would you say are some of the challenges for your guys' businesses as you grow them, both technologically and from the consumer perspective, like encouraging people to adopt this technology in their homes or in their businesses? Let's start with Nikhil.
So for us, the bigger challenge right now is, ultimately, what we enable our customers is to basically pick and choose the best of robotics and human behavior. And the problem that we see there is that, while there's a lot of promise with robotics, to scale robotics out, the AI behind the robots need to be advanced enough, which is not a very trivial problem to solve for most of the tasks inside a kitchen. So today we do about 30%, we are able to do like 30-35% of tasks inside a kitchen. But for the other tasks to do it robotically, we need a lot more data. It needs a little bit of time. There is also a capital element to how expensive these robots are. They're falling down. And in terms of adoption, it's mostly that our customers are practically pulling it out of our hands. And the bigger problem that we face is we aren't able to service all the customers that we're getting. But on the other hand, there are also different kinds of foods that are very hard to codify with the current set of sensors or the current set of sensors that are available on the market. So cutting sushi is perfect way, looking, touching, feeling a piece of fish and saying, okay, how good is this? Is it good enough to get inside my dish? Can I adjust it, course correct for whether it's... So there are these edge cases. I won't bore you with more and more of those. There are these edge cases that are hard to, which possibly cover 25 to 30% of all the commercially valuable recipes, which are hard to kind of do today. So we're basically looking for some research breakthroughs there before we can do that. And from the customer end, we try to make it as simple for the customers. So it's so far so good, but I'm sure we'll face more challenges as we're scaling up.
Assaf, how about for Chefee? What's the challenges as you try and move the robotic element to the 2.0 to the next level, and how is the consumer the challenge to sort of bring awareness to the consumer and encourage them to adopt this type of technology in their homes?
Yeah, we haven't really gotten a lot of resistance in terms of adoption. Basically, every single person I talk to says, "Excuse me, it's real, I want it." That's usually the reaction. So what we've done is we've actually artificially reduced the market so that we don't have this huge avalanche of orders, because we can't service them currently, and we don't want to because we want to scale intelligently and not collapse from too much. But yeah, scaling any hardware company it's always about manufacturing, logistics, right? Your supply chain. What we do to address this is we modularize Chefee, so that if something...
You do what, sorry?
Modularize.
Modularize, sorry.
Write that down.
So that it's easier to replace,
super
and upgrade.
Super easy to maintain. We don't have to fly out there. we also have remote diagnostics. So a lot of those things are what's going to matter when you start scaling, right? But in terms of adoption, you saw the app. It's as easy as ordering out. That's you click on a few buttons and your kitchen starts cooking. So.
Well, and we've talked a little bit about what Ben, where your drones are getting bigger, but what do you sort of see as the future of your business with the robotics? Is it expansion is the key here, or is there more in the actual technology?
It's execution. Customer adaptation has been like, I'll give you an example. One of the stations where we've been operating for more than 3 years in Holly Springs, North Carolina, we have 70% penetration rate. So 1 out of 7 out of 10 houses in the area that we order have joined the service. So you would say, you know, it's a nice gimmick, why don't you try one time, etc. However, 12 months later, and we check it all the time, we get a retention rate of 45%. And in the food delivery industry, that number doesn't exist. It's crazy. So people join it because it's gimmick, because it's fun, because the kids like it, but they keep coming back because it works and becomes a part of their daily lives. So we're very proud of that. Like I mentioned before, regulation is no longer a challenge, I would say. It's just a matter of bringing everything together and executing. We are going to start scaling this year. We now have 4 stations in North Carolina and in DFW. We're adding a few more this year and opening new clusters of operations later this year and then into 2026. Again, it's up at this point in time, it's really up to us to do that. So I'm pretty confident we will.
Well, and for all of these types of innovations that you see throughout the smart home and technology in the consumer technology, scaling is the challenge. Assaf, you just said you've had to artificially restrict the supply because of the scale. So just to sort of end on, I guess, I would say, what would your hope be for how you can scale the business, and what do you need at this point to sort of push things forward, other than money? I'm assuming money is going to be the answer, but there's, this goes to the consumer awareness too. Like, the more that people are interested in robotics and can see the benefits, the easier it might be for you guys to do this. Or is it not a challenge to scale?
I mean, like, scaling is a challenge for literally every single company. Even if you were Google, you had your scaling challenges. Okay, so but the food industry is peculiar in the case that, like, the best quality food is put out by people who are incentivized to shut all sorts of technology out of their process, because, like I said, like, the best food that you've probably eaten is at like a small restaurant. It's not at a restaurant that has 100 outlets. It's very unlikely that happens. And to that degree, the thing that would help us the most is like openness for new innovation across. Like, the food industry has a reputation for not being the most friendly to new innovation. Right. As compared to like other industries. So that's probably one thing that I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's not a blocker right now, but as we scale and are dealing with large...
That's the roadblock you see.
That's the roadblock that we see coming for us.
What about Assaf for Chefee?
Well, I would say, like, when you guys see Ben's video, seeing is believing, right? Like, you see this is real, this is happening. In our case too, but in our company, we like to say eating is believing. Okay, once we put this in Kim Kardashian's home or Taylor Swift's, by the way, anybody know Taylor? Okay, once we put it there and they're putting a TikTok video, this is delicious, game over, right? That's it.
Yeah, so it's just getting the word out. Education.
Yeah, doing it in the right way.
Yeah, marketing. Yeah. But that's a whole other panel. So excellent. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. I really appreciate your time and your insights. And thank you for listening. I hope you picked up something, found it interesting.